Well, hello, good evening. It's a complete joy to welcome you all to the City of London and to St Stephen Walbrook. Wonderful to see you all gathered for this multi-dimensional commemoration of Samaritans in their 70th year, a time when, sadly, their critical support is all the more needed around the globe. We gather to give thanks for their foundation here 70 years ago last November, and to give thanks for all who have contributed and who continue to contribute so generously. As many of you know much better than I, and as we will hear, Chad was a remarkable man, an extraordinary pioneering spirit, a man of courage who made things happen. In addition to supporting the suicidal, he was committed to extolling the importance of science, promoting sex education, promoting women's rights, a talented linguist, traveller and man of music, and of course a man of faith and of the church. Without him and his very good friend Peter Palumbo, we wouldn't have this amazing Henry Moore altar and this flexible space. He created a wide-ranging and exceptional legacy. And this legacy and tradition of the groundbreaking is both inspirational and terrifying for us at St Stephen Walbrook. But we are hugely fortunate that the church attracts a wide array of innovative artists such as Lizzie, Mark, Olivia, Ben, the dancers, the chorus scholars, and Sheila, as they will demonstrate this evening. We're also enormously grateful for the broad, wide-ranging support of Chad's astonishingly gifted family. Felicity will provide precious insights as a daughter and president of Samaritans, and Kate's perspective on her grandfather in the programme is a joy to read. Sally, Chad's daughter-in-law, organises regular events here for the Michael Varah Memorial Fund, and the pews on which most of you are seated were designed by Andrew, Chad's son. I'm also very grateful to Jess, Samaritans volunteer, Caroline and Richard from the City Police, who will give us their special angle on support provided by Samaritans. The poems, music and dance collaborations are inspired by aspects of the journeys that we're all on. Journeys with joy, challenges, despair, dark, light. Some of these journeys may need the support of the listening ear of a Samaritan. In reflecting such journeys, the three dance video music collaborations broadly move from darkness to light, and each collaboration will commence with a minute of silence. We are hoping that another commemorative part of this 70th year will be the installation in the church's garden of the sculpture Listening, which was created for Samaritan's Garden at the Chelsea Flower Show last year. More to follow on that in due course. Just one or two house rules. Don't sound too heavy, but please don't film any aspect of the performances. We have a wonderful videographer and sound specialist who will create a video which will be widely available. Now, for those of you who are seated on the expensive front rows, please, when the dancers are performing, keep your legs and belongings and wine glasses tucked in. The dancers will move very swiftly and fluidly throughout the building. And those of you who are further back are more than welcome to stand up. And talking of the expensive front seats, We do hope to raise significant funds for Samaritans and their extraordinary work, so please give lavishly after the performance, and by all means do stay for drinks afterwards. You can give by old school cash, contactless, or using the website of Samaritans on the back of the programme. The programme will now flow without further announcement. Do enjoy the performance, and many thanks indeed to each and every one of you for your much valued support. I'm now delighted to invite Felicity to speak.
It's wonderful to be with you this evening to celebrate the foundation of Samaritans 70 years ago in this sublime space, the most beautiful of all Christopher Wren's churches. My father, Chad Varah, was a man of compassion and extraordinary vision. 18 years of parish work and writing articles about the difficulties people encountered, what we today would describe as their emotional and mental health, formalised in his mind that there should be a sort of 999 for suicidal people. In 1953, the Grocers' Company offered him this parish in the City of London. It was here that Chad was able to realise his visionary idea of combining the technology of the telephone with compassion. And in November 1953, in this church, Samaritans was born. Later on, it was recognised as the world's first telephone helpline. His aim was to create an organisation to befriend the suicidal and the despairing. This was at a time in the 50s when a failed suicide attempt was a criminal offence, as was homosexuality. The extraordinary instant success of Samaritans was based on his beliefs: confidential, non-judgmental, and accessible to all. He took his first call on November the 2nd here, in the vestry, in 1953. But it was in the following February that he discovered that the volunteers who supported him had an ability to listen and empathise, offering compassionate understanding, which he called befriending. So Samaritans are celebrating their 70th anniversary throughout the whole of this year. The same founding principles still apply. Chad described the volunteers as ordinary people doing extraordinary things. So this is certainly the time to celebrate. Samaritans responded to 134 million calls for help last year, call for help every 10 seconds. And there wasn't a single second last year when Samaritans weren't on the phone to somebody in need. There's a single helpline throughout the UK and Ireland, 116 123, open 24/7, 365 days a year. Well, that is in most years. I think you'll know there'll be an extra day this year. From one branch, there are now over 220 branches, and 23 people volunteer their time for Samaritans in numerous ways. We work in prisons, schools, hospitals, at festivals, and on the rail network to support people going through difficult times, and we train others to do the same. Over 3,500 members of the military community use our Veterans app. The ways in which people want to make contact with Samaritans are changing. We're supporting people by phone, email and letter, but also by online chat. Our research ensures we're growing and developing, and yes, we strive to be as innovative as my father was all those years ago. Our lived experience panel of more than 500 members is helping to shape our work. So people can take comfort from the fact that no matter what they're going through, a Samaritan volunteer will be there to respond and to listen whenever they need support. Our work is only possible thanks to our extraordinary, committed volunteers and to amazing supporters like you. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jess, or more formally, Jessica 7595, which is my volunteer number. And I've been a volunteer for Central London Samaritans for just under a year. I joined in the 70th year, which wasn't on purpose, but was quite lovely. And I'm really happy to be here, and thank you very much for having me to speak. So, if you'll indulge me, I'll start with why I decided to become a Samaritan, and then I'll talk a bit about the experience of being a Samaritan volunteer. Like many, I have a personal reason for being a Samaritan's listening volunteer, and that's my father. My dad suffered terribly from depression and bipolar. And when, about 15 years ago, he tried to take his own life. And he was one of the people that lived and was glad to have lived. I have since lost my dad, but I was drawn to working with the Samaritans because I believe strongly in the power of breaking the silence around suicide and of talking and human connection. And when I enter the phone room, I feel in many ways that I'm honouring him in doing so. I do feel incredibly proud to say that I'm a Samaritan's listening volunteer. And I feel incredibly privileged to be someone who can pick up the phone and be there for someone, often in their darkest hour, sometimes quite literally when it's the middle of the night. And I feel really humbled by the stories that I hear on the phone. To be able to be there for someone, to listen and to hold space for them to tell me how they're feeling is truly an honour. And when I get into the phone room and pick up the phone, I feel like everything else falls away and nothing else matters other than the connection that I'm having with that person. Although I'm relatively new at being a Samaritan, what it's really taught me is the power of human connection. To have empathy and to truly listen can have a hugely profound impact on someone. I feel like in our daily lives, certainly in mine, I feel like I'm always in fixing mode. There's always a problem to solve, advice to give. I need to give my team steers. I need to be there for my friends and tell them what to do, kind of thing. But actually, when I think about the great conversations that I've had, it's where I've felt heard and understood. When someone's given me the space to explain how I'm feeling without judging it, without trying to make me feel a different way, and without trying to fix things. And that's what we do at Samaritans. Sometimes what we do and the conversations we have a direct and immediate impact. And someone might say, you've made me feel a little less low, or things that feel a little less dark. And other times we might end a conversation, someone doesn't feel expressly different. And that's okay. I've let them speak, I've heard them, and I've hopefully helped them feel understood at that point of time. And Samaritans, for some of our callers, maybe even for most of our callers, might be the only place where they can really say how they feel. Sometimes it can be very challenging to be a volunteer. It can be challenging to stay in that listening space. It really is a skill. That's another thing I've learned. And it's challenging to hear some of the painful stories that callers are living. But ultimately, for me, it's about meeting the caller where they are and giving them a bit of encouragement and structure to express themselves. As Chad Varah said, it's simultaneously a very ordinary thing to do, but quite extraordinary, and you can feel that impact. It's a real honour to be speaking today, and it's amazing to think of it all starting here over 70 years ago, and to think of the millions of people who have been heard through the Samaritans. I'd like to say thank you to Child Varah, to my fellow volunteers, and thank you to Samaritans.
A poem by R.S. Thomas called Groping. Moving away is only to the boundaries of the self. Better to stay here, I said, leaving the horizons clear. The best journey to make is inward. It is the interior that calls. Eliot heard it. Wordsworth turned from the great hills of the north to the precipice of his own mind and let himself down for the poetry stranded on the bare ledges. For some, it is all darkness. For me too, it is dark. But there are hands there I can take, voices to hear, solider than the echoes without. And sometimes a strange light shines, purer than the moon, casting no shadow. That is the halo upon the bones of the pioneers who died for truth.
Can I just start off by saying a big thank you for your invitation for us to join you at this 70th celebration. And a big thank you to the Samaritans who are here today for what the work you do. And to the Honorary Presidents of Samaritans, thank you for what your father did 70 years ago and what he continues to achieve. My name's Richard. I'm a sergeant in the City of London Police, and I'm proud to be the police lead for a partnership with Samaritans that started 2.5 years ago. Samaritans having started in this very church in the square mile of London, and 68 years later, just a few streets away, we launched a Police and Samaritans partnership. The Samaritans team we have in the City of London Police is a team of 20 persons, and they attend on a rota basis twice a week, offering a listening ear to those that are in custody. They come from the 10 branches across London, and they perform their duties at the police station in addition to their branch duties. From their ranks, I've met professors, actors, civil servants, those in business. Samaritans are in their early 20s to those who are retired. A mix of years of service from 2 years up to 38 years service. And so far, I've counted about 115 years of combined experience that they bring to the police. A number of people who pass through our custody are vulnerable. We see more than the national average of people with mental health problems. A considerable number have problems with addictions. The custody process is a lonely, uncertain and disorientating time for persons, and there's little human interaction. It's important for us to remember that a person is deemed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. And even if that wasn't the case, taking a person's liberty puts an onus of a duty of care on us. Samaritans have been able to fill a considerable void in addressing a person's welfare through listening without judgment, and a person can speak about anything they want to. I'll never know what's spoken about in those conversations, but all I can say is from my own observations and from what the people tell me is that people feel better having spoken with a Samaritan. And the feedback I get is, can they come in more often? But what made this partnership so easy to establish? That both organisations have common goals. The primary purpose of the police service, when we started in 1829, has always been the preservation of life. And the mission statement of the Samaritans is that every life lost by suicide is a tragedy. This gave us a good foundation to start from and a common objective. From the start, Samaritans made it clear that they wanted to reach out also to members of the police service. The police officer will typically see between 400 and 600 traumatic incidents during their career, compared with a member of the public who will see between 3 or 4. It is estimated that 20% of the police force are living with complex PTSD. And to quote one police officer, they said that the worst aspect of being ill was that they were simply doing their job. So, just in this one police station in the city, there's a considerable need. I'd say that the Samaritans are a pleasure to work with. They show a great commitment to what they do, and they display that can-do attitude that is sometimes missing in others. But their support doesn't stop there. Samaritans for us have run listening skills workshops in which 10% of the members of the police force have been trained, and it just gives us a better opportunity to support each other and support other people. The Samaritan scheme that we've got here in the city has reached to other parts of the United Kingdom, where police forces have contacted myself or the Samaritans lead about setting up similar schemes. Some are at various stages of implementation, or some have those partnerships up and running. I would like to offer my heartfelt thanks to my opposite number in Samaritans, Alison, who leads a team of Samaritans with passion and drive. To all the Samaritans who are part of this Policing Samaritans partnership for their willingness to help others and for their presence just gives that sense of reassurance. And I'll leave you just with one final thought. What has been achieved in this partnership in just 2.5 years at one police station? Imagine what could be possible when we come together again for the 75th anniversary. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. And thank you everyone for having me here this evening. My name's Inspector Caroline Hay and I am representing the City of London Police. But what my actual role here tonight is to celebrate the Samaritans and the work that they do with us as a police service, which Richard's really eloquently conveyed. And I stole Richard's Samaritans because I saw how wonderful they were. And I asked them if they would come out on my operation, which is called Operation Reframe. The idea of Operation Reframe is to protect people in the nighttime economy. It started in 2021, when unfortunately, and it devastates me to say, one of my colleagues let us down. Horrendously let us down. That was the year of the murder of Sarah Everard. I knew we had a lot of rebuilding to do and I needed help to do that. And the Samaritans offered that help and that support. They've come out every month for Operation Reframe in the freezing cold and the windy and rainy conditions. And they've been there to support not only women, but men too. And I've heard the word compassion this evening, and it's in our code of ethics. And it runs through all of us here tonight. And compassion is a wonderful value that the Samaritans hold. As an inspector, I look after people. And as a mum, I look after people. There aren't that many people that look after me. And amongst friends, I'll share a very brief story with you. And I must apologise, Reverend, but last year I went through a divorce. And one of our wonderful Samaritans said to me, "Caroline, are you okay?" And I was in uniform and I had a taser and I had lots of people to look after and everyone was running around and people were drunk, not the police officers, and it was a chaotic scene. And I stood there and I thought, well, Ron, now you come to mention it, I've had better weeks. And we had 5 minutes of a discussion and 5 minutes that made my week and the rest of my year an awful lot better. So I think my message is that we don't always know if people are struggling and we don't always know what conversations can lead to. But that intervention and that asking if somebody's okay is a really, really powerful thing. So all I wanted to do up here, and as I say, thank you so much for inviting us, is thank you. Thank you for all you do, because you make a difference.
The Answer by R.S. Thomas. Not darkness, but twilight, in which even the best minds must make its way now. And slowly the questions occur, vague, but formidable for all that. We pass our hands over their surface like blind men, feeling for the mechanism that will swing them aside. They yield, but only to reform as new problems. And one does not even do that
but towers immovable above us. Is there no way of other thought of answering its challenge? There is an anticipation of it to the point of dying. There have been times when, after long on my knees in a cold chancel, a stone has rolled from my mind, and I have looked in and seen the old questions lie folded and in a place by themselves, like the piled grave clothes of love's risen body.
Well, simply to say an enormous thank you to all our contributors for quite unforgettable privilege of experiencing performance reflection and insight, which will, I think, stay with all of us for a very, very long time. So, heartfelt thanks and all blessings to all Samaritans for their continued extraordinary work. And once again, thank you to all of you for your support, and do stay for drinks. God bless you.